All right, everyone, welcome back to part 2 of a 2-part episode. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
The Idaho Business Podcast is sponsored by Dell's Outdoor Advertising. These guys are an institution when it comes to billboard advertising, traditionally or digital billboard advertising. They are represented from Pocatello all the way to Blackfoot, and they will tell you this is a great way, and I will tell you this is a great way to have top-of-mind awareness for your clients, your potential clients. There are some great things that still can be accomplished from billboards, even though we're in the Facebook and social media marketing, realms of the world right now. So if you contact Rob and you set up a 3-month deal to be on the billboard, he'll give you your installation for free, or your first month for free, excuse me. And again, you can go to idahobusinesspodcast.com, click on their logo, their name, and find their information to get that deal rolling for yourself. And they are fantastic at it. So go see them today.
But Shawn, would you have anything to add to kind of that work-life balance? Because I like those 2 answers you just gave for the learning experiences, for sure.
Yeah, I'll share a few thoughts on that. I think with balance, I love that pursuit of work-life balance. I think it's kind of an evading pursuit for most. I think that sometimes to accomplish really big things, you have to fall out of balance for a period of time. Yeah. And that's not entirely bad as long as it's calculated and purposeful, and that the people around you support. They understand that, hey, he's going to dig in on this for a little while and things might be a little different, but it's not just that. I think that's the biggest assumption we make. The biggest mistake we make sometimes with our families is that we unilaterally decide that we're going to lean into a project or to a business. We don't consult our spouse with that. We don't make sure that our kids are on board with that. We don't plan ahead properly to make sure that they understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how long it might last. And that maybe on the other side of that, we're going to make up some lost time and everybody's going to celebrate if we win. And so I think just a lot of times we just make the decision and we just go, and then we can't figure out why there's resentment a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, because we didn't take the time to have those conversations. So, but I think it's a noble pursuit for people to be, to try to. In fact, we've had this conversation. I have this conversation with our agents a lot, that we are not trying to create a business or a model or a culture where you have to, in order for you to win here, it has to be at the expense of other things that matter to you in your life. Mm-hmm. And real estate has the potential of sucking people into that mindset. Like, in order to win, it's got to be 24/7. You got to answer every call. You got to show every house. You just can't say no. You can't afford to say no. And that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a culture where people can win in not just this area of their life, but spiritually, physically, financially, wealth, family, marriage, all of those things. So it's not uncommon to walk these halls and hear conversations about all of those categories of life. So
that's fantastic. And that's what makes, teammates just work harder, want to work stronger, want to just see that goal that's bigger than everyone, and just like, hey, these guys get me. They get what we're trying to do. They're not trying to just kill me in one area. They want us to be, as a whole, just better and good people. So that's remarkable. That's a good.
Oh, and even to add to that, Spencer, it's when you have a business that's growing, and so we are really experiencing considerable growth, and some of that's, well, all of it's just because we can't let things be. We've got to find things and opportunities to grow. What we are all also learning to do is to make sure you're present where you are.
Sure.
So you can be home with your family, but if you aren't home, you may as well be at work. And so when you're there, being present and accounted for is vital. And, that takes a lot.
It does.
It really does. Takes a lot of discipline to ignore what should be ignored so that you can pay attention to what you should pay attention to.
Yep. No, I agree. I years ago, I didn't tell you guys this, but I was in commercial real estate. I was with a brokerage called Coldwell Banker Commercial for years, and I remember meeting the owners of the mall here in Pocatello, and I remember we were talking at a dinner in Vegas, and he was telling me at night he shuts off his phone, turns on airplane mode for a good hour and a half, and that is his favorite time of night, and he does nothing but hang out with his kids, give his direct time to his wife, and then gets time to put them to sleep, and just has that real dad husband time, and then after that's been taken care of, then he'll turn it back on. If he needs to work a little bit more, he'll work more. But I've really thought about that, and I've started to learn that I love my airplane mode at night, that it's time to, you really have to literally take off that dad hat. I mean, the entrepreneur hat, and say, okay, I'm a dad right now, or I'm a full husband mode. I'm going on date night, and she's going to be my queen for sure. So,
well, and airplane mode's critical because, I mean, most of us don't have the discipline. Most of us are, I mean, we're so addicted to those alerts that once you're aware that there's something there waiting for you, you're gone. Like, even if you don't look at it, your mind is there, and then there's a string attached to that until you look at it and you satisfy that need. I mean, it's truly a drug. And so airplane's cool. I mean, don't make yourself fight that battle every night. Just protect yourself from yourself. That's a cool concept. I've never used airplane mode at night. It takes a lot of courage, but cool concept. I will plug my phone in the other room once in a while, or leave it out in the truck for a few hours or whatever, but that's awesome. It's good idea. Good advice.
It's a freeing thing, because at first you're just like, like a bull in a china shop, like, okay, what's going on that phone? But after a while, it's like, man, this is so nice just to have, what's going on, be my present and be my life at that time. And the funny thing is, what you guys just talked about, systems and core values, it's funny how many things that pop up on your phone that they need assistance right then work their way out within an hour without you even have to talk to them, because you already have those systems in place. You already have good core value matches within your organization. And that's what I've taken from it. I'm like, I'll call someone back afterwards and be like, hey, what's going on? Oh, we already got it taken care of. Yeah. And I love hearing that response, because I'm like, yes, I can go back to my wife and go back to my kids and just keep having fun, So
Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. Cool. Well, I know everyone is just, they've heard of the Anderson Hicks team, and it's just good to have everyone listening now to this podcast hear that, man, you can be a dominating force in the market, in your niche, yours being real estate, of course, and still have that balance, and still, try your best to be a good husband, try your best to be a good father, and have that balance. So, and it's possible. So
yeah,
there's too many people on social media that says, put your head down, and just work, 25 hours a day, and you'll pop up and you'll retire faster than anyone else, but then you'll retire alone because no one wants to be around you. So
exactly.
So I really appreciate that talk about work-life balance. It's amazing. So, well, let's enter into the lightning round here, guys. And the lightning round sponsor this time is from Fresh Prep Foods. These guys offer remarkable healthy choices, anywhere from Burley all the way to Idaho Falls. If you're trying to, especially it's a new year, people are trying to have some New Year's resolutions, to lose some lbs, look good for the summer. These guys are the way to do it, and they have conveniently located locations that you can pick up your stuff, or they can deliver them to you as well. But if you enter the code Idaho Business on their website, you will get your first meal for free, and another meal to give to a friend, whoever you want, just to try it out. So that's the sponsor, and that's the deal for listening to the podcast and entering that promo code that's only good for the podcast. So Well, let's enter into the lightning round here. I'll start with I can't remember who went first last time. I think it was Mike. You answered oh no, it was Shawn the last time to answer the last question. I'll start with Mike then. Mike, what was maybe one of your favorite books / tool or software that you've used in the last few months or year that's kind of been a real good game changer for you?
I think that I keep a stack of books just over here that I reference back to often, but a book that really made a difference to me was a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And it's just a great book about just digging in what it looks like, the logarithmic effect over time, etc. Just really a great book. So
I like it.
That's been a good one.
I'll have to add that to the Audible list. Cool. Shawn.
Okay, so software for the last 4 or 5 years, I've used a software called Todoist.
Okay.
It's have you heard of it?
I have not heard of that one.
It's Todoist, all one word. It's a time management, task management software. It's the brains of my whole life, and it crosses all platforms: business, personal, family, church, everything. So if they shut down tomorrow, I'd just probably retire and go move to Mexico and live on a beach, because I wouldn't know what to do with myself. So that's a big one. And then books, The One Thing by Gary Keller. I read it every year. It's huge. It's the first one I recommend to young entrepreneurs or just anybody that's trying to get started in business. It allows you to just narrow your focus, teaches you how to narrow your focus on the single most important thing that you can do to move objectives forward, and then just helps get clarity on how to accomplish big things.
Well, now I got 2 good books to add, because I haven't heard of both of those before. So
there you go. What about you?
Mine right now, I've read a few recently. That I'm reading one right now that's called What Doesn't Kill Us, and I'm still in the progress of that. But it's not really a business book. It's just about being stronger willed as a person, and you're shocking your physical body and stuff that way. But one that I talk about and I love is that just stands out in my mind is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Even if you're a businessman or not, that is just so entertaining. And the journey that he had to start Nike was absurd, But no, that was one of my favorite ones recently. So
cool.
Well, cool, guys. Okay. What's one of the biggest myths business owners need to know the truth about?
You're first, Shawn.
So the biggest myth that people think, shoot, I don't know. Okay, here's one. I think that people are constantly, and people might shoot me for this, but I've found my most success in business making things better. So I lack that creative gene that comes up with brand new ideas. And a lot of times people think, well, you can't build successful businesses off building better mousetraps. You got to go out and you got to go create a new mousetrap or create a new invention. And real estate's a good example. I got into real estate in 2007. People have been selling real estate for many years in this town. It wasn't a new concept. I just figured out how to do it more efficiently and better. And so same thing with we're getting into some other businesses right now. We're doing some stuff with software, with lending, with development. These are not new concepts, but we're taking our values and our principles and our work ethic and our culture into these other industries, and we're going to crush it in those industries.
I like it. I like the confidence too. That's awesome.
So I think what I would say is that you'll read a lot of things that tell you to identify your weaknesses and work on your weaknesses to develop those weaknesses. And I cry foul on that. If you're not good at it, strategize on how to hire somebody who is, because you're never going to be good at it. And when you get all focused on trying to get good at what you're not good at, it just sucks energy out of you. Get great at what you're good at. You might be good at something and you enjoy it. Get great at it, and that'll make the difference, which is a different version of what Shawn's talking about. Is talking about systems and the things I'm talking about in what you do. And so and I think that's another reason that we have success. For me personally, in success, I've really focused on what I'm good at to get better at those things, and realized what I can do, and I can do it well. It's just not in my lane. And so I figured out how to hire someone to do that, and it elevates everything.
I love it. I totally agree with that advice, because I literally just heard about that same advice on an Ed Milet podcast. One of his guests said the same thing, and I thought about that for a minute. I'm like, you know what? It's exactly right. I always talk about, don't try to be a jack of all trades. Hire out, like you said, hire out. Get a bookkeeper, get someone to run your scheduling, get that kind of stuff going, so you can focus on higher dollar activities, and really work your talents. So thank you for both your answers. I love that. So last but not least, was there a question that I should have asked that I did not ask? And what would be your answers? I wonder if there isn't, but I like to end with that one.
Oh man, good question. Mike, you first.
With business today, and I'm making the assumption that whatever business that you're in, those that are listening that you're in, is that you are not a sole proprietor, meaning you are the one doing everything, and that you do have to hire. Our awakening, especially, Shawn, maybe in the past 6 to 9 months in particular, is that hiring talent has gotten far more challenging,
for sure,
and far more expensive than it has been in the past. People seem to have a lot of choices. There's a lot of pressure on wages due to the lack of workforce available. So, the environment and everything matters, and we're fortunate we have folks who will testify to our culture and environment here. And sometimes some of you may not. So I would tell you, finding talent. So the thing that we ask biggest challenge in business is finding talent and keeping a bench, so you know where to go when the time comes that you need talent.
I like it.
I like it. We should end on that. I don't have any other questions.
Well,
You should ask me. I thought you did a great job asking good questions.
No, I appreciate it. I do actually came up with one more question. Because I'm curious, and then we'll roll out the red carpet for you guys at the end. But in this, you guys expand throughout the state for your guys' services that you offer people, man, and you're seeing all sorts of craziness across the state, from Boise hearing the report that they are at 84% over market value, to over here, all the way to Rexburg, or whoever. But what do you see? Do you see a trend? What do you see in the future, I guess, for Idaho and the real estate within Idaho?
Well, I think the question maybe behind the question is, should we be bracing for an implosion?
There you go.
Maybe. I don't know if that's in your question at all, but I think that's in some people's minds.
There's some.
Mike and I both went. We both sold through the peak of 2007 and then the implosion of 2008 through 13. What's really interesting is if you look at the average sale price from like 1990 to 2007, it's a pretty steady climb, and then you see this big crater.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see, if you were to put a trend line on 1995 to 2007, I was just with our data guy a few minutes ago before this podcast, and we looked at a trend line from those dates, and we projected where that would put us today, and it's right where we're at. Okay. And so our prices right now feel stupid. I mean, they're shocking, because we rebounded so fast. It was like hockey stick curve, but it just put us right where we would have been if we would have had a steady rate of appreciation for the past 20 years. So the other thing is that the lending practices that caused things to implode in 2007 and 8, we're not seeing those right now. So, we do expect to see a decline in the acceleration of prices, but not this massive reversal. I mean, nobody really knows. Nobody knows for sure. But neither Mike nor I or Chris or anybody on our team or anyone in this market that I know of is expecting a major correction. I think these prices are here to stay. They're being driven by true economic indicators. We've got great companies, the INL, Melaleuca, the hospital. I mean, these are solid companies that are bringing people to this area. So I think these prices are here to stay. I think it's a matter of figuring out how to get into a house and having an agent that's got creative solutions that can help you do that in this market.
I like it. Well, perfect. I definitely want to have you guys on again because there's obviously more questions I have for you later on for sure. But in the meantime, people listening right now thinking, hey, I've heard about the Anderson Hicks Group. Now that I'm finally listening to them on the podcast, these guys seem like good dudes. What's the best way to get a hold of you guys to start a transaction for one of our listeners?
That's great questions. I would say just you can email us at info@andersonhicks.com, or you can call our main line 208-227-5328. And then we can get you help right away. And we do cover Pocatello, even further south of that. A lot of business in Blackfoot, Shelley,
Island Park, Rexburg.
North side up to Island Park. So yeah.
We did some work in Lava, as far south as Lava Hot Springs this year. So
nice.
we go all over the place in southeast Idaho.
Get over there in the Bear Lake area here soon too, maybe.
We should, for sure.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you being on the show today.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Spencer. Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks for inviting us. Thank you.
You're welcome. And all those are listening, like always, go out there, conquer your day, have that attitude of gratitude, stay away from those negative Nancy's that just want to bring you harm, and just go out and just be a happy person, because that's what we're here for, be happy. So until next episode, you guys have a fantastic week and a fantastic day. We'll see y'all later.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.